Hello, everybody. We are just firing everything up. Instagram's online, Facebook is online, YouTube should be joining us shortly. So happy, beautiful Wednesday. Caleb Newton, Lusmore Photography, Z Dude, how we doing? Danny Koyman from Facebook, Jay Colley, I'm here, boss, playing with the new Bino harness. Yeah, I know you sent me that picture, Jay, and I thought you were going to continue to want to chit chat, and I'm like, buddy, we gotta hit live here. So, Sean McGarry, good evening. Chris Perta from YouTube, how's it going? I am doing well, Chris. How are you? Ben Thurber from YouTube. Ominous Rooster, YouTube is online. Jay Tappenden, good evening. Jack Keithley, how are you doing? Pack 'em Out Apparel is in the house. Hopefully you guys went over and took part in kind of that pre-sale with the Shed Antler shirt that they started last week. Caleb Newton, I just thought the shirt on and got a notification. I need to get another one of these. So, Caleb, we can definitely hook you up with the shirt. So, just let me know. We have plenty for sale. So, Benito Boadia, hello. Kelly Ford, well, hello everyone. Tuned Up Archery, hello. Kelly again. Sorry about that picture we sent you from the archery shoot this past weekend. Just had to tell you that we were missing you, brother. So, Dave West from Facebook, I am doing well. Bugle me this. Mr. Jake is joining us from Facebook tonight. Pack 'em Out Apparel went well. Perfect. So, Idaho Bow Hunter, Instagram. So we'll wait for a few more people to jump on, and then we will get started. I don't know how many of you guys have been looking up at the snow line like I have and watching it creep up and getting more and more excited about getting up there. So, Ryan Bonds, hello. I look forward to your insight. Shane, nice meeting you last Saturday at Dead on Archery. Shane, it was a pleasure. Appreciate you talking with me. So, Jason O'Hare, hello. Tony Walker from Facebook. Lucas Bush from Facebook. Matt Mello from YouTube, hello. Ready to learn. I like it. Hopefully I'm ready to teach. So, Scott Schmid, hola. Ominous Rooster, Arizona Fall Regs are out. Nice. Yeah, actually, our draw window is now open in Idaho, so that's kind of what I was doing earlier, was going through the book and kind of getting my plans ready. So, Kelly made me feel like I was truly missed. Yeah, don't think that too much, Kelly. In fact, that's the one and only time we thought about you, mentioned your name or anything throughout the whole day, so it was short-lived. So, got to put you back in your place, brother. So. Boss Hunter, J Rushy 24, Braun Cop, Instagram, welcome everybody. Chris made it, hopefully everyone is well. Chad Seaman, I am here. Can you talk quick about August 2nd at Southern Oregon Archery? Yes. So I need to make the seminar poster for it. For those of you guys in Southern Oregon, I am going to be flying into Medford on Friday, August 2nd, and I am going to be doing a seminar at 6:30 at Southern Oregon Archery. It's just going to be that one-day deal for Friday evening, and then I'm going to turn around and fly home Saturday morning. But I will be doing the one seminar. So basically, the way the seminar schedule works or looks so far is... let's see, June 8th, I am in La Grande, Oregon for their Elk Day at Alpine Archery and Fly. June 22nd, I am in northern Idaho, in Hayden, Idaho. The one there in Hayden, Idaho, it's a little bit different. It is Saturday, June 22nd. We're going to start at 10 o'clock. And basically, it is a 4 to 5 hour class. I am going to cover everything in that class. It is $50 per person. There are only 50 seats. Seats are filling up fast. So if you live in northern Idaho, eastern Washington, western Montana, definitely go to our Facebook page, get your tickets purchased for that one, June 22nd. July 19th and 20th, I am in Etna, Wyoming at Archery Unlimited in Etna, Wyoming. That's going to be a Friday evening deal, and then Saturday morning at 10 o'clock. Friday is 6 p.m. That one there, it's not only going to be the 2 different seminars, but we're also going to be doing some broadhead testing. We're going to go out on the range and we're going to test 2-blade, 3-blade, 4-blade, flight penetration, all that kind of stuff. So we also have giveaways at each of these. And then, of course, August 2nd, I will be at the Southern Oregon Archery for that seminar there. So, all right. Jeepin' Creepin', Mug Outdoors. Welcome, welcome. Jason O'Hare, I was in Idaho last week, saw lots of elk, got me excited. That's good to know that we still have elk here in Idaho. So, Eric Olson, good evening. Charles Freshman, hello. Jerry Dixon. Jordan Harrop ordered some extra scree gear a couple of days ago. Can't wait to test it out. Customer service was incredible. If you have not worn any of the scree gear yet, Jordan, you are really going to be surprised. The thing about their hard scrabble pants is that is some of the most comfortable pants I have ever worn. And I actually, got on the phone with Mike over there and said, you really need to offer these in solid colors, because if you did, these would be my scouting pants, these would be my 3D pants, everything. They listened. They're going to be coming out with solid colors in those. So Boondock Patriot, welcome. Larry Bennett from John Day, Oregon. How are you doing? Hey, I was wondering if you have ever been around the hex suit for archery. Just like to know your opinion on it. Larry, I am very familiar with the hex suit. In fact, when Mike first came out with the hex suit, we were the team that he kind of sent the first ones to try it. I'm a firm believer in the hex suit. It definitely does block your electromagnetic field. It is hot. It is warm because it actually has carbon thread in it, woven in there in that Faraday cage principle. Because of that amount of carbon, it is a little bit warm. So early in the season, you may not really want to wear anything over it. And then as the season progresses, you can put things on. The one thing about the hex, though, if one person in your group is wearing it and nobody else is, really is not going to be much of a benefit. But if everybody's using it, absolutely. So, Scott, I used some easy ECA learning last weekend. Perfect. So, Elk Farm in Utah, bull well past his 3-point already. Yeah, actually, I have seen kind of a lot of pictures from bulls that. It's kind of funny because some of the bulls shed early, and those that shed early are already 3-point or beyond. Just some incredible horn growth going. So, Mr. Guy, Western Contours, how you doing? Second the hex suit, excited for Hayden's seminar. Chris, that is going to be a lot of fun. I already have started reaching out to a lot of our partners for giveaways. And in fact, some of you guys may have seen the picture of the Elk Calling Academy branded gear from Bendable Products. They have all of the reed pouch, the Reed Pouch Express, the tube holder, all branded with the Elk Calling Academy logo. Those are going to be available on the Bendable Products website for sale probably within the next week. And those of you that wanted the Elk Calling Academy Rip It Read, those are available now on the Native by Carlton site. Jeepin' and Creepin', any seminars going on in Arizona? I don't have any scheduled in Arizona yet, so I still have a little bit of space left. I got to leave some time for getting up and scouting and checking trail cameras and all that kind of stuff. So, Etna, Wyoming is 7 hours away from me, so. Well, Sean, it depends if that 7 hours is worth it, bud. Just joking. Caleb, have you used the Bugle tube holder while hunting? No, not while hunting, but I've used it out on 3D shoots, just kind of some early hiking trips with it. It secures and holds really, really well. So, Alan, what's going on at Southern Oregon Archery? I am doing an elk calling seminar there on Friday, August 2nd at 6 o'clock. And like I said, I will be creating that poster here real soon and get that posted as an event on the Facebook page. I may be in Logan, Utah for the summer. Any seminars near there you'll be doing? Bugle me this. No, I don't have anything scheduled in Utah this year. yet. So still working on a couple of others. Would be cool if we can get something going in Montana. Nick, I would absolutely love to come to Montana. So, all right, let's get into the deal. So, hey everybody, my name is Michael Batiste, and this is Wapiti Wednesday Q&A. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. We're glad to have you here. The way Wapiti Wednesday works is I typically start with a subject, and tonight we're going to talk about how my approach to camp kind of evolves throughout the season. Now, also the way the Wapiti Wednesday works, it doesn't matter if you're on Facebook, YouTube, or Instagram. Feel free to put your questions in, and we'll do our best to answer those. Now, there is some information that I can't give out on this because it's information that I do give to our paid students and students on the monthly subscription page, which we are in the process of building our own e-course and video site that will have an e-course that you'll have the option of either an annual membership or a monthly membership. It has a store that has the Elk Calling Academy apparel, plus a lot of this Elk Calling Academy branded gear from Bendable Products, the Rip It Read, and also a lot of the products with the partners and the gear that we really like. So now, no matter which platform you're joining us from, if you're liking the content, make sure that you like, subscribe, or follow. And also turn on notifications so that way you're notified each time that we upload new videos or we go live. We've got some pretty good videos coming up that we're working on some product testing. So, Alan, let's just talk Rosies versus Rockies. That would be a pretty good topic right there. So, I will put that in the bank for a future episode. Benito, please come to Arizona. Etna, Wyoming is 2 hours, 39 minutes from Logan. That's not too bad. So that's awesome. Thanks, Carl. Elk Bros. So, all right, here we go. Let's jump into it. So you guys have heard me talk about, the base camping, the truck. So that is primarily how I do most of my camping for most of the season. But in reality, there is kind of, man, a lot of you guys are pumping for Arizona. So if you guys have archery shops in Arizona, go in, tell them you want an elk seminar, have them get a hold of me. So, and then we can start the process of setting up a seminar in Arizona. So, okay, so the way my thought process goes throughout the year. So our season in Idaho, opens end of August, which typically we're dealing with Labor Day weekend. Labor Day weekend being one of those really popular camping weekends. Now all of a sudden you have all kinds of people camping, all kinds of people riding around on four-wheelers, motorcycles, and all that kind of stuff. We tend to, that first weekend, we actually tend to spike camp that first weekend. So, like this year, our plan for opening weekend, which Memorial Day does hit on that opening weekend, is we have a trail that, and the funny thing is, we're only going a mile in. But the cool thing is we don't have to fight for camp spots for people. We don't have to worry about ATV riders, motorcycle riders. We don't have to worry about any of that. But what's also funny is because we're at that 1 mile mark, most of the people that are kind of hunting on the road are really only going to go about that 1 mile. And then all of a sudden they're going to bump into our camp. Kind of deters from going any deeper. Now, obviously you are going to have, those diehards that do want to go deeper. But for the average person is only willing to go a mile down a trail or, behind a gate. So we go in about that. It's about a mile and a half we set up camp. And then from there, we have, two directions that we go with the group, and we kind of, split and cover, pretty good, pretty good Labor Day, Mike, Memorial Day, Labor Day. I thought I said Labor Day. Did I say Memorial? Okay. Yes, Labor Day weekend. Labor Day weekend contains our our opening. So thanks for keeping me straight, Scott. So, um, so yeah, the fact that we're bivvied in there, we still have a lot of option to cover a lot of ground, but we choose our bivvy locations pretty carefully. So, like I said, we're not having to fight for camp spots. We just basically get to that trailhead and then hike in and set up camp. And we strategically place our camps down next to a creek, so that way, scent and all that is always flowing down that creek. We also know where the elk are typically at in this area, so we don't have to worry about those thermals blowing down and affecting the elk at all. And the other thing that we look at when we choose our bivvy locations is we still want that freedom, we still want that capability to hit multiple different situations or multiple different areas. So that way we can definitely still fly around and hike around and, locate the elk. Because that first part of the season, during the day, they're really not overly top vocal. So you're more looking for sign and kind of doing some of that blind calling routine that we talked about in chapter 5 in the Patreon instructional video. Now, after that first weekend, now we go to that truck camping, to where we can get in the pickup and we can go different directions, cover a lot of ground on main roads, bugling, canyons. But here's the thing. So you guys have heard me talk about the hammock that I carry. It is a hammock that I bought on Amazon. It's from Winter's Outfitter. It's a lightweight hammock. I always have enough food and something to start a fire, and also plenty enough food, because what I want to do is, because some of these areas, so we're driving in the truck, we get a bull to crack off, and then we work back into that canyon. Well, if we spent all day in there and we've had really good encounters with elk, we may make the decision just to stay the night on the mountain right there. Because then the other option is to hike, the 4 or 5 miles back out to the truck. But in the evening, it's definitely dark by the time, you're done playing with the elk, and to where you can't see your pins. So there's a good portion of that hike that you are going to do in the dark part of the night. So now you're looking, like I said, 4 or 5 miles or 6 miles back to the truck, then however long of a drive back to camp. Then you got to get something to eat, then into bed, then up early the next morning to drive all those miles back and hike. So like I said, there are some times that we will make that decision, we're staying the night on the mountain. But we always have stuff with us that we have that capability. So even though, I've told you guys that we do that base camp out of the truck, we always have the ability to stay the night on the mountain if we choose to. If just something there is just like, wow, we really, really need to stay here tonight, we'll go ahead and do it. The other thing that does is it increases your opportunities and your encounters. So, because remember, the whole purpose of night bugling is to go locate elk. Now, I have said in the past that typically we won't hunt the same area 2 days in a row, but it has to be something that we're seeing from the behavior. If they're nice and relaxed and they haven't been pressured and there hasn't been people there, we'll make that call. But we will do things the next morning differently than what we did before. We won't go to the exact same spot and start working that bull or whatever. We will switch it up, because typically you have to change where you're at anyways to keep the thermals in your favor. Now, if you're going to stay the night on the mountain, you need to be really, really aware of where these elk are feeding, because the last thing you want to do is set up camp and then have that thermal from your camp blowing right down to where they're feeding, because they're going to blow out of there and you ruin your chance for the next day, and you might as well just hike back to the truck anyways. So there is that little bit of adjusting, on the fly. Boondock Patriot, as a first-time elk hunter, would you recommend bivy hunting versus a base camp type setup? Um, you know, when I first started, it was base camp. I didn't really get into bivy hunting until I moved from Oregon to Idaho, and I had already been elk hunting 4 or 5 years and had pretty good success. That's really a personal decision that you need to make. You know how good of shape you are in. You know what can happen. There's a lot of determining factors. Are you solo? Are you hunting with someone? So those are all the things that you need to kind of calculate. You can find success both ways. It's really your personal preference. I loved the backcountry hunting when we used to go back in there. It was an incredible time. And that area that we hunted in is a really, really special place. It just kind of changed over the years with the availability of tags and trying to get tags. It became almost more of an effort to get the tags than it did for the hunt. And it's not even like that hunt was that great. It just, because it was one of the first places that I hunted in Idaho, it was one of the first places that I really learned about backcountry hunting. It just really holds that special place with me. So, Chasing Critters, how you doing? So, Josh Nordwell, shelter or bivy sack? That's again personal preference. It depends on what you want to sleep on. I mean, you can go minimal with just a lightweight tarp, a lightweight air pad, and a backpacking sleeping bag, and you could be absolutely comfortable. Me personally, I really like the hammock aspect of it. I've used a hammock for the backcountry for a long, long time. It's just something I'm comfortable with. And, when you get into hammock, it is, okay, top quilt, bottom quilt. You need something. And there's a couple of options that you can go. And I will be kind of doing a video. That's one of the things I have planned, that as soon as the snow melts is a video on what my backcountry or backpack sleep system is. 6 a.m. Outdoors has some really, really good top quilts and bottom quilts. Again, it's personal preference. I use my hammock. My bag is a 0-degree bag, and then I actually have the climate insulated air mattress that is designed for hammocks. It kind of holds the sides out a little bit, and it's just extremely comfortable and extremely warm. So, again, the shelter or bivy sack, completely your call. So it depends on how much gear you're carrying, what you're carrying, and how much weight you want to carry. And is it that you're going to go back and you're going to drop camp and you're going to head back to that camp each night? Or are you going to tear down camp and throw it in your pack and have it on your back each and every day as you wander around? So, I mean, that's another option as well. So, Freddie, how you doing, bud? Okay, looking for some help with this for me and my 13-year-old son. Thanks. Yeah, Josh, it just all depends. The one thing you really want to make sure of on the type of shelter that you have is, and the gear that you have for that backcountry, is warmth. You're already expending a ton of energy chasing the animals, so your sleep at night is oh so important for the body to recover and do it day after day after day. And if you don't have the right gear, those nights can get pretty dang cold on the mountainside and in the backcountry. And then you're just not sleeping that well. You're tired, or it's uncomfortable. You don't have the right sleep system. Your body's not recovering, and it just becomes a miserable grind, and especially with a 13-year-old son. You really want to make sure that he's comfortable and that you guys are enjoying it and that he wants to do it year after year after year, because that's the biggest thing with, introducing youth into it, is making sure that they are comfortable and that they're enjoying it. So, but not so comfortable that it's like you're staying in a 5-star hotel. You still got to suffer just a little bit. So ominous. 2 weeks ago, I was out scouting 2 new units for possible elk apply units. Nice. We still have way too much snow to be able to go out and scout yet, which is killing me. So, Lucas, what do you use for bedding while using your hammock, or just sleep in what you got? So, I normally, like I said, my hammock is a 0 degree. It's just about that big. It is a center zip. It's from Outdoor Vitals in Utah. Phenomenal backcountry bag. Lightweight, extremely warm. And then, like I said, you take that Climate sleeping pad, and then Climate also has a little blow-up pillow. Between all those, you will sleep like a snug as a bug in a rug. So you will sleep extremely comfortable. If I know the temps are going to get down, I will throw a beanie, so that way I can put a beanie on and keep that, heat from escaping out of the top of the head, and just sleep a little bit warmer. That's really about all I take, because like I said, that bag is, most of the time early in the season, I spend most of the night with that bag unzipped about halfway down, because it is an extremely warm bag. So. Kelly Ford, do you spray down your equipment after you pull it from your pack, or before, or at all? No, I don't spray down my equipment at all. I'm a proponent of the wind. So, and Kelly, you're going to get firsthand experience of this. So, since you are new to our hunting camp this year, you're going to learn all this stuff firsthand. So, my area is still under feet of snow. Only good thing about that is no mosquitoes. So, yeah, there's still a bunch of snow out there. Jackson Thornton, do you hunt whitetails? Yes, I have hunted whitetails. So cool thing, here in Idaho, we've got muleys and whitetail both. It's definitely a lot of fun. So, Benito, is a hammock comfortable? So the thing about the hammock is, you really need to find the right hammock that has enough room for you, that you can stretch tight enough that it doesn't have this big swoop. Most people, when they really think of a hammock, they think of this huge swing hammock like you're sitting on a beach. That's not how these hammocks are. You stretch them tight, and in fact, you stretch them, you set them up well enough. You can sleep on your back, you can sleep on your side, you can roll over on your belly. It's all in how you set them up. So, but yes, a hammock to me is extremely comfortable. Like I said, it's personal preference. So, but definitely getting the right setup makes all the difference in the world. Sean, I use a 2-man lightweight backpacking tent. I'm too claustrophobic for a bivy sack. And yeah, that's the thing. I mean, bivy sacks, the tarps, 2-man lightweight backpacking tent. They have 1-person backpacking tents. They have 1.5 so that there's room for you and your gear. There are a ton of options out there. And really the biggest question is, how minimal do you want to go? But the thing that you really need to do is kind of gather all your gear, okay? And I can guarantee the first time you do this, you are going to grab more gear than you absolutely need. You're going to get it in your pack. You're going to put your pack on, and it's like, ooh, this thing's way too heavy. So then you have to pull everything out, and then you have to basically rank your items. So, and go from most important to least important. I thought I saw something. There it is. Best water option for maybe a 2-mile back setup. So, Josh, as far as water for me, the area I hunt, we have quite a bit of water in it. So, I normally carry a 32-ounce Nalgene bottle with me, and then I use the MSR Trail Shot as my water purifier. It's lightweight, doesn't take up much room, very easy to use, And so I'm constantly, monitoring my water. And during hunting season, I'll drink 3 or 4 of these a day, pretty easy. So, I'm monitoring that level. So if I do get, near a creek, I'm just taking, a quick break to fill that back up. Water's critical. You got to have it. So check out the MSR Trail Shot. So I like my warm bed in my camp trailer and lights and a stove, but I'm not willing to hike 5 miles in the dark just to get to the camper. I'm actively lazy. I'd rather camp out than hike out and then back in again. Scott, I hear you. The creature comforts of the base camp is really, really nice. Like you said, the nice warm bed, all that, but also the shower. I made a portable camp shower. Works off of a 5 gallon propane tank, drops in a creek, into a shelter, unlimited hot water. And the thing about that setup with that 5 gallon tank, 5 guys for the whole month of September. Most we've ever used is half that bottle. So, but the ability to take those showers each night is valuable. I mean, it's gold. So, Westerner, I swear by hammock camping, so much easier. It is. So I have an Enlightened Equipment 0 degree quilt. Okay. How are they for bad backs? Grade 1 to 2. Josh, the only thing that I can say is you would just have to try it. You'd have to do a trial run. So really, like I said, that hammock that I use, that I got off Amazon, Wilderness Outfitter, it's like $30. It's a fairly lightweight, parachute hammock. It's an extra large, so it does have plenty of room for you. It comes with the tree straps. It's to me, it's one of the best hammocks out there, and I've tried quite a few of them. The reason, like I said, the reason I like that extra large is that extra large gives you plenty of room. It doesn't feel like you're just all bunched up and tight, and you do have room to roll to your sides and whatnot. So. But Josh, if it's any, I have a herniated disc in my lower back. It doesn't bother me to sleep in the hammock. So, all right. Have you heard of the hike and bike sleeping bag that goes right over your hammock? It's basically an underquilt and a top quilt. So, Derek, that's basically what that Outdoor Vitals bag is. It actually has a boxed footbed with a zipper that you can run your hammock right through it. And then it does act as a bottom quilt. And in fact, that's what I'll do when I'm in the backcountry is I'll get the hammock set up. I'll get that climate pad in there, and then I'll unzip that foot box, slide that slide that Outdoor Vitals bag over the top of the hammock, and then suck it down, and then tuck that foot back in, so that way it closes that off. And so basically you do basically have that underquilt, but then also with that climate insulated. Just all that together works really, really well. So, but no, I haven't heard of the hike and bike. But there are a couple of different options out there. So Outdoor Vitals is another one. Tony, I just bought a 15-degree bag because I was worried I would be too hot in a 0-degree bag. Do you get too warm in your bag during archery season? Tony, sometimes I do. But my thought process on it is I would rather have that extra warmth in case it did get really cold than not having enough bag, because you can always regulate your heat with your zipper, or I can open up that foot bag a little bit to, allow a little more cool air in there to regulate it. So there's different things that you can do to regulate that heat. But now if it does get really cold, I know that I have that 0-degree bag that's really, really going to keep me warm. So, Andrew, do you use a particular GPS? I'm the kind of guy who can get lost in a one-bedroom house, so I get hesitant going too far past that mile mark in these Idaho mountains. But I want to push past that this season while being safe. So, Andrew, I actually have used the Garmin Colorado in the past. But really lately, I've just been using the Onyx maps on my phone. In fact, I haven't taken my GPS out in probably 2 years, 3 years, just because I'm so used to, downloading those Onyx maps on my phone, switching my phone to airplane mode, and then I have everything that I need on the phone. Um, but Andrew, if you really did want to get a GPS, shoot me a message. I'd be willing to sell that Garmin that I have, and it does have the Idaho Onyx chip in it. So shoot me a message on Facebook, and we'll kind of talk about that. So Robert Gonzalez, rain gear poncho helps to keep heat in over sleeping gear. So yeah, and that kind of goes with some of those backcountry tarps. So that are designed. That's basically what they're designed for, is to kind of reflect that heat, back on you. And there's different things that you guys can do. I know some guys take kind of these new down puffy jackets that fold up really small. They'll throw that in their bag, so that way when they get to where they're camping, they have that they can put on and sleep on. I don't know, and honestly, with my system that I mentioned to you guys, there's a lot of times that I'll still get that camp set up. I'll take my camo off and hang it in a tree, and basically I'm just in the sleeping bag and socks, underwear, and t-shirt, and sleep just fine. So Jay, maybe a video on your sleeping stuff and your water. Yeah, absolutely. We'll definitely do this. Wilderness Outfitter. So yeah, Benito, Wilderness Outfitter is the brand of the hammock from Amazon. In fact, I'll grab a link to the very one that I have, and I'll post that Amazon link on the Facebook page. So that way you guys can get that same one. Jim, true story, always lost. Got lost on my 5 acres on X Maps. So it happens. You can get turned around pretty easy. I remember it happened to us that year. We were hunting in Montana. We woke up and clouds were really low. It was basically almost like it was fogged in, snowed. Your sense of direction was just off. But I think that's one of those things that kind of the newer generation has kind of lost the ability of, I guess you would kind of call it the mountain navigation, the mountaineering, moss on a tree, different things that you can do to kind of help navigate in the backcountry. And we've talked about it before, where enjoying your surroundings, enjoying what's going on, but in reality, it's more than just that. It's more than being aware of what's around you. It's also paying attention to landmarks and features. Because if you're taking the time to study all that, you're going to recognize areas a lot faster. So you're going to recognize, certain rock outcroppings, or, there's going to be something that you recognize where all of a sudden it's going to be like, I recognize that. Okay, I know exactly where I'm at now. So take your time. So, does your hammock have a rain cover, or do you carry a tarp? Yes. Same thing with Outdoor Vitals. They have a lightweight rain cover that you can put on the hammock that just weighs, a couple of ounces. You can find those all over the place. A lot of different companies make them. Like I said, there's not very much weight at all. Definitely something, good to add. When we bivy hunt, I will take the rain cover, and I will, definitely, put that over, because, going to be there for a few days, and it's hard to know what the, it's hard to know what the weather is going to be doing over a 3, 4, or 5 day stretch. So I want to be prepared with that rain cover. But if it's just going to be one quick night, when we make that decision to stay on the mountain, that is one thing that we're factoring. We are taking a look at weather. What's the weather going to be doing? All those really play into whether we're going to stay the night on the mountain or head back to camp. Because obviously, if a storm's blowing in, we're not going to stay on the mountain. We're going to go ahead and come off the mountain and head back to camp. So, Josh, with the waypoints sold. God, I might have to turn that thing on. I don't even know if there's still. I'm sure there is waypoints on there. God, I'm trying to think what areas might. There might be some waypoints for up around Elk City. There might be waypoints for over in the Island Park area. I don't know. I'll have to. You got me curious now. I want to take a look, Josh. So. All right, Derek, this is off topic, but my dad has a very narrow palate and can't even get a mouth call to make a sound. What are some suggestions for narrow frame calls? Or is he just better off with external reeds? So, Derek, yeah, there are some people that have extremely narrow palates, and it's hard for them to really make a sound. But the one thing that I find a lot of times on this is people will put those reeds so far forward up in their mouth that narrow palate is really coming into play. But if they just move that reed back just a little bit, so because our mouth doesn't stay like this, our mouth is narrow and then it widens up as it goes back. So by moving that diaphragm reed back a little bit will allow that reed to set up in the roof of the mouth. But if his palate is truly that narrow, you can reach out and call, a call manufacturer and say, hey, here's the deal. What do you suggest? Because I remember when I was with Rocky Mountain Hunting Calls, bugling bull, we used to custom make some reeds for a guy in Montana that were built off a really narrow frame, and then we really had to bend them to get them to fit. But in order to, we really had to play around with the stretch, because you take a flat diaphragm, and as soon as you bend that starts playing with the tension that's on that latex, and it really relaxes it way too much. So if we wanted to get to A was where we wanted to end up, we would have to stretch that thing to B, so that way when we bent it, it ended up at kind of where that stretch was. So, but I would say try two things. One, moving the reed back in the roof of the mouth a little bit, and then just reaching out to some call companies and saying, hey, can you guys do some custom, or here's what we got. So, Scott, always look behind you every few minutes, because going back, everything looks different. It does, because your angles change. Whether you're going uphill versus downhill, everything changes. And that's all part of really being aware of everything around you. And, being aware of all that, knowing how things look. So, because they can change too throughout different times of the day, and the way light hits them, things look different. So, Lucas, plus it's nice to see if you're being followed. Very true. So, Jay Irvin, just got top denture. The palate is so slick, I can't keep a diaphragm in one spot. You might try something. I don't know if you've tried the Rip It series, Jay, because it does have this metal bridge. This metal bridge on that top pallet may keep it in place a little bit more. But yes, that is a common difficulty with individuals that do have dentures. But I do know I have had a couple of students that do have dentures that have had success with the Rip It diaphragm series from Native by Carlton. So you might just give those a try. Jay, if you're looking for one to go, depending on your calling ability, I would say the Rip It Red or the 450 would both be two good choices. And of course the Elk Calling Academy reed. So, but if you just want to get one to try to start, get that Rip It Red. So, and see how that works. You have an experience with solar charger versus battery pack. Yes, I actually carry the Goal Zero Nomad. It is a small solar charger panel, and it does have a small little power bank. combination. They're both lightweight. They are in my pack all the time. So that way I have the ability. And sometimes I'll take the panel and I'll clip it to the outside of my pack so that way it's open and gathering the sun, and run the cord into my pack into the power bank, so that way while I'm hiking around, that power bank is routinely charging. Because we have the video camera with us now, and so we just want that way to charge those batteries. But Gold Zero is a great brand. So Josh, have a good night, boys. A double tomorrow means I need to go to bed. Get info. Josh, thanks for tuning in tonight. So, Jack, looked at the charger the other day that charges when you boil water. I have seen that one. So, I don't know. Should I do a pack video for you guys and basically pull everything out so you see everything that I carry? In fact, yes, I am going to do that because one of the new packs, or actually two of the new packs that we're rocking this year, basically have day mode, which is so cool. I mean, what you can carry in those things with the minimal amount of room, but still have the ability to load up on meat on the way out is pretty dang awesome. Okay, a lot of you guys are saying yes. So, okay. So I will definitely put that video on the board and kind of go over everything. And Scott, actually, that Goal Zero setup that I have is in that pack, so you'll be able to see firsthand the exact system that I have and everything. So Lars, yes, okay. So. All right, so hopefully that kind of paints a better picture for you guys of my thought process with my camp, throughout the season. So you still kind of get a little bit of the backcountry, even though we're not going in, several miles. We're only going in 1.5 miles, maybe 2 miles, maybe 3 miles, not that far on that first weekend. But it kind of gives you that little bit of taste because it's a short stint. And then, then you're back out once, all the campers are out. There's, definitely a lot less people out there. Then you can set up that nice base camp and then have that ability to really do your night bugling, whether in the morning or the evening, and really cover a lot of ground. Now, one of the things about that spot that we bivy hunt in that first weekend is, this is that area that, we normally hit that first weekend, that there's multiple bulls that are back in there. And as the season progresses, those bulls kind of break up because they're still in that bachelor group rounding up cows. So it's definitely an advantage because we're on the bulls a lot quicker in the morning, especially, because that first part of the season, remember, it's hot. So we want to be closer that we can get on them as quick as possible as soon as it's light, instead of having to use that light to hike back in and get on them. So plus it's kind of cool too, when you're back there, they can be a little more vocal at night and have that ability. But I also know that weekend also, a lot of people will take their family on kind of the last family camping trip of the year. So they definitely have to, go back to camp, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's no right or wrong answer or right or wrong choice. So this is just another option for you guys to get out there. So Mad Viking, how you doing, bud? So, all right, we're getting down towards the end. So last round of questions, throw them in. Let's go. Showed up late. I'll have to go back and watch it on YouTube. So, yeah, Ron, the replay will be available on YouTube and Facebook. And I think actually Instagram keeps it available for a little bit too. So you got a few options to go back and watch the replay. So, upcoming videos that we have the next round of the bow challenge, which this next challenge is the Matthews Traverse versus the Hoyt Helix Ultra. We also are doing a tutorial video on those two packs in the day mode. We also are doing a video review of the paracoil, which we used quite a bit last weekend out on the archery shoot. That paracoil is really, really good. So, which is the best video on YouTube that shows your calling process? So, Joshua, we've got all kinds of videos on our YouTube channel. Just go to the Elk Calling Academy YouTube channel, go to videos. If you go to playlists, we do have kind of a beginner's guide to elk calling video series on there. But really, the best overall video series of exactly what we do, you're going to get that on the Patreon page, which is just elkcallingacademy.com. That's where I teach you all of the sounds, what they mean, how to do them, but then also I talk about how I use those sounds out in the field. So, Craig, how do you consider elevation in your decision to camp? If I'm staying in the backcountry, typically I want to get lower elevation because with thermals blowing down, I want to stay off the top of ridges. Kind of control your scent as much as possible. So I'm going to take a look and figure out where those elk are feeding. And I definitely want to be below them at night with thermals blowing down. So, but as far as base camp, just something that gives us a nice, comfortable ability to set up a nice camp with, everything that we have where we're kind of spread out. We're not on top of each other. So, took my wife elk hunting last year. Nonetheless, it was my first elk hunt. It actually turned out well, but would like to have hiked in a little farther. But that ominous, that time spent with family, that is awesome. Time spent with family out in the woods is just one of those things that just really can't replace. So, Joshua, that's awesome. I'll check the website. So yeah, so like I said, Joshua, the elkcallingacademy.com is going to point you towards that Patreon page right now until we get the other things set up. So, what are the crispy boots you use? Does it still have a lot of flexibility? Yes, it is the Crispy Dakota and has a ton of flexibility. So, thoughts on using headlamps when hiking in before daylight? I've heard green and red don't bother the animals as much. I've tried red, I've tried green, I've tried white. I don't know. I really haven't had much problem with all of that. So, Sheila, do you have a video explaining thermals? No, but I could do that as a Wapiti Wednesday topic. So, all right, guys, the countdown has started, so we are going to wrap it up. I want to say thank you to all of you for tuning in. Appreciate each and every one of you. As always, keep calling, keep practicing. Most importantly, have fun, and we'll see you guys next week on the next episode of Wapiti Wednesday Q&A.